Good afternoon, everybody. Today is Tuesday, the 14th of September. So it's week 10 here at school, and it gives us just the rest of this week of term 3 before we have a 2-week vacation period. And then we return in term 4 for an 11-week term. The first 4 weeks will be very much like they are now, and then there'll be a staggered return to school. Obviously, there's an awful lot of planning that will be involved in that return and about how our routines work. And the department is doing some assessments of things like ventilation, fans, windows, air conditioning, and that type of stuff, which will help to inform the planning as we get into next term. But I will keep everybody up to date and in the loop as we do progress through that process. So the same as any term, we have some changes that occur at the end of these term times. And one of the changes we're seeing this year is Miss Ray will be finishing up at Lethbridge Park Public School on Friday as she leaves Sydney to be a bit closer to her family. And that, of course, means that One Yellow will be farewelling her. But they'll also be welcoming Miss Sharma, who currently works in an RFF capacity at our school. She'll be taking over the teaching role in One Yellow, obviously initially in the remote working environment. And then as the students come back to school around week 4 for Year 1 students, Miss Sharma will join her class in the actual room with a bit of luck, which is what we're heading for. So I'm sure you join me in wishing Miss Ray well, and also in welcoming Miss Sharma into that classroom teaching role. Now, last week we sent out, and this is for Year 3 and 5 parents, we sent out some information about NAPLAN. So this is a result. The sheet that comes out, it's got a whole series of dots. The black dots show individual students' achievement. The other indicators show how the school went and how the state went. And then inside the report, you can see it gives a whole lot of information about areas in which students had correct answers and they had incorrect answers. So if you're a parent of a Year 3 or 5 student, I am hoping that that has arrived home by now, but if not, it should arrive home in the next couple of days. As you may appreciate, sometimes things are a little bit slow in the post, but they're doing their absolute best. If you've got any questions about the student reports, they're best put towards your child's teacher who can give you a bit of information about how that will inform teaching and learning over the rest of this year and into the start of next year. Now, we've all been watching the vaccination rates around New South Wales, and as you know, Blacktown gets a special mention fairly regularly. And I was really pleased last week to see how high the vaccination rates were becoming in our area, because of course the level of transmission and the vaccination rate will have an impact upon the capacity of schools to return, and we're really hoping that we can stick to that roadmap that the Premier has laid out for us. One thing that I'm aware of is there have been a couple of vaccination hubs opened up very, very close to school here. So the first one is at, you can see up on the screen here, Kimberley has a vaccination hub. So from yesterday, Monday the 13th of September, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander from Western Sydney, their families and household members aged 12 and over can go down there for a vaccination. You do need to pre-book first. So if you can call 1800 922 886, and that way you can make your appointment to have your vaccination done down there. And I also know that Shelby PNC has a walk-in vaccination centre. Now they open up from today, I believe, and you need to take down there either your Medicare card or some photo ID, and you can get through that process. So they're fairly close to us here at school. And I did also see on Copeland Road yesterday, a great big pink bus drove past, which was the mobile vaccination centre. I don't know where it was parking. Maybe someone can tell us where it's ended up, but it can't be too far from here. But it's certainly passed the school yesterday. Now, one of the big events of this week, and always at the end of the term we have these events, is we have our badge assemblies. And as you would appreciate, in the current remote environment, that's created a few challenges about how we organise that. So far what should have happened is students who are receiving badges, we sent out a letter last Tuesday, and in the letter would have had a certificate for those children, their badge, and it would have had a parent information sheet. And in that information sheet, it would have told you about how you could get onto the video conference to join us. And up on the screen here, you can see, I've blacked out the names of this particular student and the family, but it would have said congratulations to little Billy, for gaining their badge. It lets you know that the event will be held online. And in through here, there's this QR code. And this is for the students who normally use Zoom to connect with the school. So really kindergarten, year 1, year 2, and our support classes. You can scan that code and connect at the time that it notes with the class. Now, you do need to be going through as a student though, because it is obviously fairly secured through the department's filters and it relies upon student passwords. But I'm fairly confident that parents of students in those years are well aware of how that works. For the older children, that's in years 3, 4, 5, and 6, they'll be accessing their badge assemblies at the time that was given in the letter, but via their class team, which they've been working on now for the full 10 weeks, so they should be well familiar with how that's going to happen. The other thing that is going to be going out, we're hoping tomorrow, it's just on the photocopier right now, is we've got a couple of holiday fun packs. So just some colouring and activities, things that the kids can build at home over the holidays. There's 2 different versions of them, and we're working on those now. They're on the photocopier as we speak, and with a bit of luck, they'll end up home, and that will just make life a little bit easier for everybody, give the kids something fun to do. We won't be sending out the week 1 packs this week. They'll go out during the holidays, and the idea being that they should arrive in your houses very near the end of the 2nd week of the school holidays. And so that when school returns on the Tuesday, then the packs would already be there for anyone that works on a paper pack. And of course, if you're a student operating on Teams, that's the day that the teacher will be back in that space. In term 4, we don't have a pupil-free day at the start of the term. That happens right down the end. So it does mean from that Tuesday, we are off and running, which would be just fantastic for us. Now, the other thing that we're just trying to work through is obviously the planning for school. So I said at the start of the video that there's a lot of things that are unknown at the moment, and I guess that there is an awful lot that's unknown. The department is still working through some of the site implications as we move out of a level 4+ restriction, is what we're referring to our current level of restrictions, into what's probably going to be what we will call a level 3+ restriction. And level 3+ allows to have some students on site. So there will obviously be some restrictions throughout the latter half of next term that will impact things like mixing cohorts of students. I don't anticipate that we will have parents and other visitors on site this year. Clearly, there's going to be an implication for how we organise things like presentation day and some of those other traditional end-of-year events, but there is still a good amount of time to let everything evolve, to see what the advice is as we come back. So I guess the important thing to remember is after the holidays, we still do have a good 3 weeks for everybody, but sort of 4 or 5 weeks for big parts of the school where we have the same level of restriction. My goal will be to have the smallest number of staff on site as possible. Obviously, we'll need to return with the smallest number of students on site possible to facilitate that. The messaging's clear, obviously. Everyone must keep the children at home unless they really have to be here, parents, children of essential workers and that sort of stuff. We have seen a really good support from our community. There's only been a couple of days that we've struggled with student numbers, but we've generally kept their numbers down to 4, which is fantastic. And we're hoping to run the same type of arrangements when we come back after the break. So from me, that's the news from Lethbridge Park this week. I am hoping to connect with most of you in badge assemblies throughout Thursday and Friday. Each assembly is about 10 minutes long, and it will just be a chance for us to connect and to congratulate students on their progress. And then after the vacation, of course, we'll meet again. So from everybody here, enjoy the rest of your week. Do look forward to seeing you on Thursday or Friday in badge assemblies. And after that, make the best of your quiet school holidays.